C.J. Henderson, to me, is Mr. Smooth. I mean, fluid hips, agile feet. He moves around the field better, and I'm going to include Jeffrey Okudah in this. He moves around the field better than anybody in this draft at the cornerback position. The thing is, he needs to make more plays. But when it comes to mirroring and matching and doing the pretty-looking stuff, this guy can do it, and I think he's going to come out here and really put on a show, not just with the way he works out, the way he runs, rather, but more importantly, the way he works out on the field.
Well, you talk about putting on a show at the Combine, and the best way to do that is to run the fastest 40 perhaps in the history of the event, and that is what some people are suggesting is in the cards for Javelin Guidry. An appropriate name, a guy that we know, Buck, from Southern California, Vista Marietta kid. His whole family went to UCLA, Javelin at Utah, and you're talking about somebody who is think about California and the athletes, and he is the California State fastest ever high schooler to run the 100 at 10.13. In college, the highest collegiate to finish at the USATF, 60-meter, sixth-place finish there against all the pros. So this is someone who is lightning quick, and maybe we didn't get it with Ruggs. Maybe we'll get it with Guidry today and see that record fall.
That's a nice pick, digging in the track background. That's a nice pick.
Why not, right? Yeah, and that's why we're here. We want to see the 40s. All right, let's look back. That is us looking forward and excited about what lies ahead today. But as we look back, it is a reminder, by the way, you were going to have a chance to hear from Chase Young, who was here last night. Didn't work out, but got with our Colleen Wolf, so we will play that a little bit earlier. Now it is time for You Make the Call, presented by Verizon, and that's when we look back, guys. And let's start with Isaiah Simmons and what he was able to do. I mean, certainly the buzz of our Saturday evening with the height. You see the weight, nearly 238 pounds, and the guy runs a sub-4.40.
Absolutely ridiculous. You just don't see guys that are built like this. 6'3", 238, he's able to put up those kind of numbers. Sub-4.40 time. You have people that are saying he should play linebacker, he should play safety, he should play corner. Who knows where you put him, but I think the one thing that he solidified himself as, he might be the most impressive athlete in the building. And then when you couple that with his skills as a playmaker, you're talking about a top 5 talent, a top 5 pick all day.
I think this is just one big flex for him coming out to the Combine and working out because, last spring I think he ran a 4.41, so now he's trained up and he gets below a 4.4 down to 4.39 at almost 240 pounds. Right now, we knew he was going to be explosive. He just showed it off. It's one thing to think about it or talk about it. It's another thing to see it, and when you see it and it becomes real, that's when, you just realize, man, this is a different guy. It's a different kind of athlete. And it's not just that money. He's long. Right. Like, his body type is different.
He's almost 6'4". I mean, how do you think it's split 50-50 with the teams about how serious they are about drafting him, where he's going to end up getting drafted, and whether or not he can play linebacker or if he eventually is just going to end up being a safety?
I think teams are divided on where he plays. A lot of people have made the comparison to Derwin James and how Derwin James has been able to do a little bit of everything for your L.A. Chargers.
Right.
I think the big thing with Simmons is –
do you like that comparison? Does that make sense to you?
Well, it does make sense, but I think the thing you got to have a clear plan for how you're going to use him. I think he's best suited to play linebacker because you can keep him in the box, you can blitz him, you can put him on linebackers. Even a dynamic running back like an Alvin Kamara, he can match it with him. I just think he has more value right at that second level than moving him back to the third level.
Yeah, I would agree with that. For me, he's like a more explosive Darius Leonard, where a guy who can rush, a guy who can drop in space. Thing is, Isaiah Simmons can cover. Like, he can line up on Travis Kelce. I'm not going to say he's going to lock down Kelce, but he gives you different types of matchup opportunities on matchup players. So when offensives have over the last couple of years had this big advantage with matchup guys, well, now you got one on defense who's a matchup guy. So that's why he's different to me.
You saw what happened in the Super Bowl. Both George Kittle and Travis Kelce impact players at that tight end position. To have a weapon like Simmons, certainly a benefit. Let's get to some other linebackers that stood out to us.
Zach Bond from Wisconsin continues to stand out to me throughout this process. First during the regular season, then seeing him at the Senior Bowl, and now watch him at the Combine. Don't worry about the 40 time being 4.65. This is where he stood out. In the movement drills, hard to find guys who can play off the edge, come off in blitz, play off the ball linebacker, can drop back in coverage and make plays. I love what he's able to bring to the table. Defensive coordinators are falling in love with his potential. He is going to be a guy that gets picked, I think, within the first 20 picks.
And what I love about him is he's an off-the-ball. He's learning to be an off-the-ball linebacker. So but you just want to see the physical attributes to be able to do it. And we saw that. A guy who's been doing it and been doing it really well is Logan Wilson from Wyoming. And watching the tape on Logan Wilson, I saw a guy that was really impressive with his body control and composure and confidence, and that was the same thing here yesterday at the Combine. Man, he's a guy who looks like he's under control. He ran a 4.63, which is a very good time at 241 pounds. I think he ran it once and just said, all right, you got to pay to see the next one, because 4.63, I'll put that in the books all day. Jumped 32 inches vertical. I mean, the athletic profile checked the boxes. He looked good on the field as well. So now you got the athletic profile, the workout profile, the production profile, and the body type. Everything checks out for Logan Wilson, and I thought he really helped himself. And Bucky and I talked about it yesterday. I think he could be back into the second, no worse than early third.
Well, one thing that the Combine can do if you have athleticism is perhaps change the narrative and whatever the negatives were surrounding you. And we know Willie Gay has got quite a bit of them.
Yes.
Someone who did not play in 8 games at Oklahoma, some academic fraud sort of situation there that got him out, some other off-the-field concerns, and you're talking about a former 5-star player, at Oklahoma, at Mississippi State, I should say, who ran a 4.46, who had a 40-inch vertical, who had an 11-foot 4-inch broad jump, and that's at least helps to move the conversation from where it was when he came in, which is, where are we at with him? Is he on our board? Is he not on our board? And you go out and do what Willie was able to do, and you remind people you're pretty darn talented.
Oh, it's a lot easier to forgive guys who are very, very talented.
Yes.
He is very talented, very athletic. He is going to get a chance. Immediately, you can see him coming in being a special team standout.
All these former 5-stars, you notice in there, they're all blowing it up at the Combine.
Exactly.
There was a reason they were 5 stars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So change the conversation, and Willie certainly did that yesterday. Let's go defensive lineman. What stood out?
It's easy. I'm going to go with Derrick Brown.
Yeah.
Derrick Brown from Auburn is a grown man. You just don't see big guys that can do the things that he's able to do. We saw him run to 40. Look, 5.15, 5.16. Those things are great, but it's this stuff that I love about him. When you watch him play, hard to find guys that have the movement skills, the motor, the toughness, the physicality. And when you talk to people about who is the best guy that you face, to a man, several offensive linemen in the SEC and beyond talked about Derrick Brown. This dude is the belle of the ball. He might be the best defender in this draft.
Lance?
When you run a 4.9 40 for a big man at 293 pounds like Justin Madubuike, that's serious. But he didn't run a 4.9. He ran a 4.83.
Ooh.
He got all the way down into the low 4.8s. He bench pressed 31. So in case you were worried about that compact power and strength, he's got that too. And when you watched him move around here, watch him around. He's got the bend in the hips, the knees, the ankles, and you can see the agility. He was moving around like a great big edge player, like a guy you might see on the edge of a 3-4 at 293 pounds. I thought from an athletic standpoint, he really looked way different than anybody else. And the 4.83 is just, that's the cherry on top of the sundae there, because that's just, you don't see defensive linemen run that.
It's funny you mention that, because I will see your 4.83 and
Yes.
raise you a 4.79 for a 304-pounder. And our man Neville Gallimore, 304 pounds, and the man ran a 4.79 40. We know about the strength. We know about the punch. You saw that in the drills. And again, it's a raw prospect, right? Out of Canada, comes down to Oklahoma, developing his skills. Now 7.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. You did see some of those balance issues that everyone's concerned with, but you also see the flash of the athleticism with that 4.79 at that size. And one thing that he does not lack, and why I enjoy watching Gallimore so much, is he is extremely demonstrative, and specifically through that, as he was running through the dummies there.
He's a basketball player.
Exactly.
Basketball, he was slopping.
Nobody.
He was slopping, that's it.
Nobody hit those things harder.
He and Rashard Lawrence from
Exactly.
LSU.
Oh, well, now he's on a different level. Rashard is altogether. That was You Make the Call, presented by Verizon. And again, as we kind of put a bow on what we saw here yesterday, let's get to our Colleen Wolfe, who's with Chase Young.
Everybody's been chasing this guy. We finally get a chance to catch up with the Buckeye here. Chase Young, thanks for coming by, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so how's your combine experience been?
It's going good. They got us doing a lot. But, it's definitely something that, I dreamed about coming to when I was a kid. And I'm just grateful for the experience.
What was the thing that's going to kind of stand out to you most about your time here in Indy?
I think just coming together with the fellow players that's here. Just seeing how we all have one motivation, and that should be the best.
I see you here talking with Willie McGinnis and Cam Jordan.
Yeah.
What are you guys chopping it up about?
Pass rush.
Okay.
Just how to get
and John
better.
Randall too.
Yeah, John Randall, Hall of Famer, OG. Definitely got to get a lot from him. But just trying to get better in everything, all the time. But,
so when you think about coming into the league, who is the quarterback that you're looking forward to sacking the most? I mean, I saw some shade here. I'm just wondering. Am I leading the witness too much? I don't know.
That's funny. I pulled that up. Probably though. I want to sack Tom Brady.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he going to be in a Patriots uniform?
That's not for me to say.
All right, so I see you over your shoulder here. You're working out with Arnold.
Yeah.
Tell me about your day with him.
Man, it was a unbelievable day. In college, my nickname was the Predator. So they had to get me with him. I had to get with him after I was done, and it was cool, man. He was a real cool dude, laid back. We talked about him and his acting career. How
Is he coming out with something new? You guys going to collab maybe?
He ain't telling me that yet. But he used to say he eat like 4 steaks a day and 20 eggs.
What?
Yeah, when he was bodybuilding.
Is that going to be your new diet?
Oh no. It's too big.
Do you have a favorite Arnold movie?
Definitely the Predator.
Yeah, but I mean, like besides the Predator.
Oh, the Terminator.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Or Jingle All the Way.
Oh, I was going to go with Kindergarten Cop, perhaps. Like that's, I feel like, no, okay, is that trash? Twins, maybe?
I never even heard of that.
No, I didn't either. Our producer asked that one. All right, how about this? Where'd you watch the Super Bowl? Where'd you watch your boy, Nick Bosa?
At one of my sports agencies, the head of it, Rich.
Okay.
His house.
So,
Rich Paul.
What was it like kind of watching Nick in the league just dominate with the Niners?
I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Because I played with him. I didn't expect anything less. I don't think anybody at Ohio State did. And that's big, bro. So I'm definitely happy for him.
Okay. All right.
I'll be joining him.
Would he have joined you dancing with the OSU dance team like you guys did?
No.
No?
Nah, that ain't Nick. Nick more chill, laid back type of guy.
I think we should maybe break down that tape. I mean, everybody's watching film lately.
Oh.
I think it's time to
this was
break this down.
JK, Jalen. Oh, snap.
Okay, so there's obviously some choreography involved here.
Yeah, we definitely had to practice this.
How long did this take?
It took about 2 weeks.
Really?
2 weeks. We got it right.
And how much time are you guys putting in when you're practicing this?
It was after, so this is off season, right?
I think so.
Yeah, this is off season. So, after we worked out, we'd definitely get a time. Our players personnel, Ryan Stamper, he'd get us. And, we'll go practice.
So who was the weak link?
If you're looking at it, it's JK. That's my man, but, JK, he ain't the best now.
Okay. That's amazing. I read somewhere that you meditate. Do you still meditate at all? Dabble?
Here and there.
Okay.
Here and there. Just when I feel like when I need to. I did some research on it and how it can really help you mentally, and I try to do it here and there.
See, I've been trying to do it. Do you use an app? What's your deal when you do it?
I use an app.
Okay.
But it's nothing in my ears, just on my laptop. So
I got
you don't really want nothing in your ears. You want to focus.
See, this is a good tip. These are the things that I need to know in order to meditate.
Yeah.
Okay. I also read that you used to sing in the choir. Is that true?
Yes.
You want to sing something for us?
Ooh, see, you ask anybody, that come in contact with me, you can't put me on the spot. But I did sing, it might have been for NFL Network or ESPN in an interview. So
okay.
I think y'all are going to see what I can
so
do.
that's a tease. That's a tease for us. Okay.
Yeah.
You also played a variety of instruments.
Yeah, I
Is that correct?
played the violin, the saxophone, the piano. Yeah, just 3.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. Jeez. And I love this. So I'm from Philly. Markelle Fultz, you guys were basketball teammates. And the fact that you guys talked about he would go number 1 and you would go number 1, kind of make the case here for this prophecy to come into existence. Why should you be the number 1 overall pick?
I feel like, no one else prepares like me. I feel like, my love for the game is unmatched. My passion for the game is unmatched. And, just because they say number one prospects say they want to be the best, but I really want to be the best. And you can ask anybody, my coaches, my friends, my family. I take pride in wanting to be the best, and I'm gonna keep going.
Okay, so how many sacks are we gonna see you put up next year?
I don't know. I really don't want to put a number out there too fast.
No number?
No number. I want to, I want to get through the process. I want to, I get there first, and then I'll holler back at you.
All right. See, that's smart.
Yeah.
See, this is gonna be. You're gonna do great in the NFL.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
And good luck, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great conversation there from Colleen, as you would expect. When we return, we continue to look forward to later today, the defensive backs. We'll talk about what makes Jeffrey Okudah the best cornerback prospect in the draft next.
Jeff Okudah, cornerback, Ohio State. I think my style of play is really physical.
Immediately, Jeffrey Okudah knocked him down.
Really tenacious.
Okudah's got his second pick tonight.
Someone who's a really great leader.
Broken up beautifully.
I'm out of my game after Stephon Gilmore. How much of a technician he is, and it's went a long way. He won Defensive Player of the Year. My biggest influence in my life has been my mom. She passed away in 2017 due to cancer. So from then on, I try to honor her in the way I play.
Okudah's having a monster game.
I'm excited to go against the best receivers every single week and just prove my worth to the team. No matter where I'm drafted at, I'm going to keep working hard. That's what I want to be known for, a hard worker that plays with a lot of heart.
And we let that set the tone for our road to Vegas, presented by Caesars Palace, an official host of the 2020 NFL Draft. Here, Bucky, are your top 5 cornerbacks. Jeff Okudah at the top. We'll get to a couple of those names below here in just a moment, but why don't each of you just kind of dig in on why it seems unanimous that Jeffrey Okudah is the #1 corner in the draft.
He's solid. He reminds me a lot of Stephon Gilmore in the way that he plays. When you watch Okudah play, he lines up, he has great technique, he has the athleticism, he's tough, he'll tackle, he can do all the things that you want to see a #1 corner do, and because of that, he deserves to be sitting at the top of the board, and to me, it's unanimous.
Well, when you look at him, I mean, from a size standpoint and a length standpoint, that's a big deal. But then he's got top-end speed, which we'll see. I think we're going to see a mid-4.4s today. And then you see the short area burst. And I think that's one of the things that really makes him special to me. He can get up and make plays on the ball, as you see here. He's very physical at the catch point, very aggressive at the catch point, and you can see him take good angles to the ball. But the other thing is he's got really tremendous downhill twitch, and burst. So he can close out on throws if you get by him. He's got makeup speed, but more importantly, he's got makeup burst. And I think that's one of the things I really like about Okudah is he combines the length, the toughness, the twitch, and then the top end speed. And all of a sudden we've got, he's checking all the boxes, and that's why he's such a highly regarded cornerback.
Just real quick, you have Chase Young lead the way for the defensive linemen. You've got Isaiah Simmons leading for the linebackers, Okudah for the corners. Which has the largest gap to the next player behind him in his position group?
I think Chase Young has the biggest gap. I think Chase Young
he's that much better than the next.
Easily.
Yeah, he's that much better than the next guy. Like, we're talking about a guy who should be up there in terms of grades, kind of like a gold jacket type guy. So it's different. I like Okudah and I like Simmons. The guys behind him, though, are also pretty good.
All right, that is the Road to Vegas, presented by Caesars Palace, an official host of the 2020 NFL Draft. Lance, here is your mock draft. We get a look at where a smattering of these defensive backs are going. Okudah there at number 3 to the Lions. McKinney next up at number 17 to Alabama. I know this is the first iteration, so a lot of it going to change the next time you post it. But let's do some defensive back fits, Bucky, and maybe we go beyond Okudah and maybe where you could see a player-team matchup when we're here, a month from now?
Yeah, it's always about scheme fit and player talent. Trevon Diggs from Alabama going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars play a version of that Seattle Seahawks cover 3 defense. Well, what is on the job description? You have to be long range, you have to have great ball skills, and you have to be tough enough to make tackles. He does all of that. He did it for Nick Saban. He understands how to play the ball in the air. This is a former high school wide receiver recruit that was number 1 in Maryland when he came out. He has made the transition to cornerback effortlessly. I think this is going to be a terrific player in Jacksonville. It really works.
Okay, play matchmaker here, Lance. What do you got?
I'm going to go C.J. Henderson, and I'm going to tie up C.J. Henderson.
Oh, my bad. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. We got to get the trash talk in.
Oh, yeah.
Trevon saying that it would be easy.
Because he knows all his moves.
To cover Stephon.
He knows all the moves.
Had to make sure we squeeze that one in there. Stephon, countdown. So my apologies, Lance. Got to make sure we get that in there.
You got to get that in. I don't think he really wants it with Stephon Diggs.
No,
just
I
yet.
wouldn't either.
Not yet.
Take it
Not
easy
yet.
there.
You don't want it. Little
By
brothers.
the way,
I'm big
note,
brother, so
you put him with the Jaguars. Little note to the Lions, Bears, and Packers. Maybe if you want to try to figure out how to slow down one of the best receivers in the division, go on and get his brother. Exactly.
Yes.
I'm going to go C.J. Henderson, Mr. Smooth, who I talked about earlier in the show, and I'm going to tie him with the Denver Broncos. The first thing you have to look at when you look at fits for me is who is in our division. If you're the Broncos, you're saying, well, it doesn't get it worse than the Kansas City Chiefs. So they got to deal with the Chiefs. The Raiders have 2 first-rounders, and Mike Mayock didn't take a wide receiver last year, so guess what's probably going to happen this year? I think you have to look at a team who needs outside cornerback help badly. Chris Harris is a free agent. He may be gone. And C.J. Henderson, as I mentioned previously, he's really smooth and athletic, but he also can play press man. He can play off man. He can play zone. He needs to trust his eyes a little bit more so he plays with a little better instincts to key the opportunity to have more plays on the football. But he's a guy to me that can play inside, outside, any type of scheme, and Denver needs the help inside that division. I think he'd be a good fit there.
So they pick 15. The Raiders pick 12. And, yeah, they need a wide receiver. I don't think CeeDee Lamb's going to get there. Maybe Judy gets to him. But if you look at the gap, what have we heard about this draft? It is chock full of talent at the wide receiver position. You look at the second round last year, the receivers that produced.
Right.
And you're not only in a division with Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. You're in a division with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. You're in a division with Cortland Sutton. So if you have those 2 picks and you're the Raiders and you got one at 19 and you think about what corner might be available to you at 19 versus C.J. Henderson sitting there at 12, I think that's going to be a very lively debate about what makes more sense for them trying to win a division at 12 and whether or not Henderson's even going to get to the Broncos at 15.
Well, I think it is that debate. It's that conversation that you have to have. Before you can think about being a Super Bowl champion, you have to build your team to win your division. You alluded to all of those wide receivers. All those wide receivers that you have to deal with. But what about the quarterbacks? You have to have people that can get stops. C.J. Henderson would be a terrific fit in Oakland with the Las Vegas Raiders.
And that's why both of us are talking about putting him in the AFC West because, again, you got to knock off the champs, and you're certainly going to have to think about drafting defense to knock them off. With that, a look forward to tonight when we return. I got to get back to the quarterbacks and play matchmaker with them as well. We'll do the best QB fits next on Combine Today, presented by Verizon. Back here on Combine Today, presented by Verizon. Bucky, a list of your top 5 quarterbacks. One of the few that has Tua listed ahead of Joe Burrow in these parts. Right behind him, though, Justin Herbert perhaps solidified himself as the number 3 thrower with an impressive Combine performance, both athletically and throwing the football. Jordan Love right behind him, and then you see you round out the top 5 with Jacob Eason. So let's play matchmaker again, Bucky, and let's go best fit for Justin Herbert.
I'm going to go with the L.A. Chargers. The reason the L.A. Chargers works, as Anthony Lynn begins to talk about going back to the scheme that he knows very well, the stretch boot scheme that served him well with the Denver Broncos, Justin Herbert is a perfect fit in that system. We've seen the athleticism, particularly the last 2 games of the season at Oregon. Pac-12 title game, Rose Bowl. We saw how his athleticism impacted that game. We've seen the arm talent. It was very impressive, not only at the Senior Bowl, but here where he's been able to make throws. You put him in a system where they're able to have a dominant running game and big pass catches on the outside, you will see the Justin Herbert that many people talked about being a number 1 overall pick heading into the season a year ago.
Well, you have a former Bolt legend, works with the team as an ambassador now, who's with you, says he is sold. There's Sean Merriman's Twitter feed on Justin with a couple lightning bolts there. Does he make it to number 6, Lance?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to put him with the Dolphins at 5. And, here's the reason. I think it would be a great situation for him. You have a bunch of draft capital over the next several years. Well, over the next 2 years, thanks in large part to the Laramie Tunsil trade with the Houston Texans. So you have a lot of building blocks to put around him. But maybe more importantly, you have a bridge quarterback, and maybe 2 with Josh Rosen and, of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick. And so he has a chance to sit and learn and go the Patrick Mahomes route. And that is the best route a young quarterback can go. Most don't get a chance to. He would get a chance to. And I think it'll also give him a chance to acclimate into the locker room, because the big knock on him with some scouts is that they don't know if he has that alpha mentality to lead an alpha locker room. And I think being there a year, establishing himself, as opposed to having to be the man in year 1, would be a big advantage for him. So I think that would be a great fit for Justin Herbert.
And I'll piggyback you with the Dolphins for 2 reasons. One, talking to people around here the last 4 days, they say Tua has wowed in the room.
Absolutely.
That he is an alpha. He commands the room. You feel his presence. So if he checks out medically, he ain't getting to the Dolphins. I mean, unless they just offer up all those picks to get up to number 1 or number 2, and I don't think they're going to do that. And number 2, if he doesn't check out, we've already heard, if that second check doesn't come, they're not going to take him. That's where you'll start to see maybe that Tua slide if it's not right and the concerns about health. So it just seems like Herbert matches up, right there, because of if it's all good, Tua's probably going higher. If it's not, he's probably going to slide.
He isn't making it to 5 now, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance. You're going up to get him, and then you got to convince Washington to let him go, and that's something
maybe they don't let him
right,
go.
And that's something we're starting to hear. Let's go to our next quarterback and find a fit for Jacob Eason.
Jacob Eason, a great fit would be the Green Bay Packers. The reason why, when you go back and look at Matt LaFleur's history, what quarterbacks has he coached of late? Jared Goff, Matt Ryan, guys that were traditional pocket passers. I know that Aaron Rodgers is a move-around guy, but when you think about this offense and what they can do, much like I talked about, stretch bootleg system, a lot of play action, this is perfect for Jacob Eason, because we've seen the big arm, more vertical plays, more big plays in Green Bay. I think this is the way to go for the Packers.
Lance?
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay Bucks, and I'm going to go with Bruce Arians. And I think Bruce Arians is going to see Jacob Eason, and he's going to see Carson Palmer. He's going to see a young, unbridled, big quarterback with a big arm who still is a little, still has areas of improvement, but the physical talent, the arm talent's ridiculous. Now you got a couple of wide receivers on the edge in Mike Evans and Godwin, who really came on last year. So you have talent outside. You got a big arm guy to push it down the field vertically. You can run the play action stuff off of that as well. I just think that Bruce Arians, very specifically in the first round, is going to have his eyes on Jacob Eason.
I'm going to go Steelers, and I know they don't have a first-rounder, and I'm going to project maybe Eason's going to slide a little bit, and again, we'll see kind of what all the intel is coming out of here, but they took a crack with Mason Rudolph, didn't work. We see that they take quarterbacks. I mean, the Steelers are not afraid to take quarterbacks. They've got the O-line. Their defense is solid. They've got wide receivers. They certainly could use a running back in that second round, but we know you can find value at that position a little bit later. I think if Eason's sitting there, it's a perfect opportunity to have him sit, learn behind another giant, strong-arm quarterback, not have to play this year, and have something set in place for when Big Ben's ready to retire.
No, I think it works. I think it will work.
There we go. I mean, maybe it'll work for one of those. Who knows? Let's do one more. How about Jordan Love?
Jordan Love going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Similar reasons as to why Lance talked about Eason going. Bruce Arians, man, what he talks about, no risk it, no biscuit. Well, when you look at Jordan Love play, he is a guy that is a risk taker from the pocket. I know that it hasn't necessarily worked out the way that you would like with Jameis Winston being a 30-30 guy like Jose Canseco. But with Jordan Love, you're able to maybe dial back some of those interceptions, but take advantage of some of those Patrick Mahomes-like skills where he can extend plays and push it down the field to those big-time playmakers. I like the fit in Tampa Bay.
No risk it, no biscuit. He gets plenty of biscuits and interceptions, unfortunately. So a little of each here, as Bucky mentioned. But I'm going to go with the Raiders here. I know the Derek Carr thing is something that has been hanging over the Raiders. How much do they love him? How much is he the guy? At some point, you're going to have to pull the trigger and move in a different direction. And I think Love has a type of special physical ability, the ability outside the pocket. You can see the throw on the move. And last year we know was a tough year with the turnover he had and personnel, but you get a quarterback guy in Gruden, you get Mayock who's building a culture of winning around him with leaders around him, and I think he could end up acclimating very well into that locker room with that particular head coach. And I think he could be a guy, especially if they target also a wide receiver in the first. Man, they come in together. It might be a nice combination.
I'll go Colts right here in Indianapolis. You hear the buzz that Phillip Rivers is going to reunite with his former offensive coordinator and Frank Reich and his former offensive coach and Nick Sirianni, who's the OC here. And that's a perfect mentor. I mean, you think about the Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes relationship. You have someone that's cerebral, a vet, and that's where Phillip is in his career, to be that mentor, recognizing that I got everything here to win with the offensive line, with the running game, and I can mentor someone else for many years to come. And we know that Jordan Love's raw, and he's going to need that, and it certainly seems to line up well here in Indianapolis to have that if, in fact, Rivers is coming in, and then Jordan becomes that pick at number 15. All right, let's look back at, speaking of the offense, a number of the offensive players that made their way for an interview conversation with our Colleen Wolfe. Little best of medley here.
Hanging out here with Jake Fromm, Justin Herbert, T. Higgins, Laviska Shenault, Thaddeus Moss, Harrison Bryant, Cole Kmet, Henry Ruggs III, Mekhi Becton, Ben Barr, Netane Muti.
So I got to start off with Harrison Ford because actually I'm
That's
named.
your number one guy?
Yeah, I'm named after him.
You're
so.
named
Wait,
after
really?
Yeah.
Who is the top tight end in the league right now?
Oh,
you get
man.
one. You get one pick.
I can't.
You can't do it?
No, I can't.
No one's asked you that in the interviews this week?
Kelsey or Kittle, you take your pick.
Tell me about the smoothie that you would make.
Let's go ahead and put it together.
We're going to get kicked out of the combine.
Yeah.
So we got grits, bananas, peanut butter, scrambled eggs, and then, of course, you're going to top it off with some Gatorade.
Red Gatorade.
Because why not? Get excited, everybody.
I'll pour yours first.
It might be weird because it's warm, though.
The eggs are typically warmer in the morning, causing more of a lukewarm, odd texture and temperature to it.
Okay, cool.
This will do.
So let's do it.
1, 2, 3.
It's actually not that bad.
Not that bad at all.
I'm not gonna lie.
Not at all.
I'm not trying to get my calories up, but I'm also kind of hungry right now. So, wow, you're just gonna crush that whole thing, huh? This is amazing. And now you too can make the smoothie at home. All right, so you're 40. It was a thing. 4.27, unofficial. How you feeling about the speed? I know you wanted to break the record, but
I want to say I'm disappointed. I mean, that was a pretty good time, but I feel like the start just wasn't there, so I didn't get what I wanted to.
Jake from State Farm, did you consider running the 40 in khakis?
I thought about it maybe one time and said,
once?
you know what, that may not quite help.
I feel like we need to settle the debate of which is the best because there's only one real answer.
To me, it's Thin Mints.
Yes! You win a prize because, listen, when you're trying to get in shape at the combine, this is how you do it with a sleeve of Girl Scout cookies that you take directly from the freezer. Right. Do you have like a favorite Harrison Ford movie?
The one where I don't remember the name of it, but where the train wrecks and like prisoners or something. I don't remember the name.
Fugitive?
Fugitive. Yeah, that's.
Do you have a nickname?
Harry B. That's what they call
Harry
me.
B. Your new nickname is Fugitive.
I'm going to have you rate other offensive lineman touchdowns, other big man touchdowns out there on a scale of 1 to 10.
10.
10, a 10. Wow, all right.
Hands, he caught it. That's a 10. That's a 10.
The scoring
Give him a
department?
9.5.
9.5.
Yeah, 9.5.
Right?
That's a 10.
Your quarterback, Joe Burrow, one of the top draft prospects going into this season. Tell us something about him that the public might not know.
Yeah, pitch him a little bit.
He's kind of a nerd, honestly. He stays at home. He's a homebody. His favorite thing to do is play Rocket League on a video game. If he's
Rocket
League.
if he's not watching film or anything else, he's playing Rocket League.
What was your favorite class?
I actually really enjoyed organic chemistry. It was
Same, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a really tough class, and it
Huge
pushed
fans over here. What do you think that you did the best in while you were here?
My interview. A lot of people think I'm not that outspoken, don't talk that much, but I'm better than people think.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the premiere of Stranger Things 4? It's a big deal. Everybody's talking about it.
Just like I did for the other season, I'm going to sit at home and put on Netflix and probably finish the whole season within a day and a half.
Yeah. Can you believe Hopper is still alive?
Crazy.
I mean, like, bad Russian Hopper? Is that what we're going to get?
I had a feeling after the last one, and there's no way they can just take him out like that. So, I'm looking forward to it.
I did see that this In-N-Out burger, 10 by 10, which is impressive. 10 patties, 10 slices of cheese. Is this a normal thing for you?
We had pretty good conditioning day. I felt pretty good afterwards, and I was like, damn, I deserve something good.
You treat yourself.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Best of luck, Jake.
Yeah,
Good
guys,
luck.
thank y'all
Thanks
so
for
much.
coming by. Thanks for stopping by, and good luck. Good luck at the draft.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let's get to our Next Gen Stats powered by AWS. As Next Gen Stats developed a draft model using historical, combine, and statistical data to rank players on a 100-point scale for size, athleticism, and production. And they made the comparison, lobbed it out via social media, of Isaiah Simmons to Derwin James and their ability, strength, speed, athleticism combination to play all over the field. And Derwin James saw it, responded, and celebrated Isaiah Simmons, pointed out that he was around at Proactive Sports Training, watching him run 4.35, Cynthia. So you're here to help us make that connection as well, and why so many people are looking at a linebacker and comparing him to a safety that's currently in the NFL, the Isaiah Simmons-Derwin James connection here.
The funny part is maybe I should be asking you this question because you have a lot of Derwin James knowledge with the Chargers, but ultimately the story here is versatility. If you look at where they lined up and the use case in the NFL as it translates, it's really about what can he become at the next level. There's some questions about, how can you best deploy him, not how can you deploy him. If you look back at his Clemson career, 23 pressures on 70 pass rushes, that's a 32% pressure rate. That's the highest in FBS among people who have at least 70 pass rushes. Ridiculous. You could line him up all over the place. 56.5 passer rating allowed in coverage in 2019, lowest among safeties. This in the ACC. This is just one of those people who it's not if, it's where and how, and the defensive coordinators are going to get so excited that they can use him in all these different ways. It's really just about the strategy of what they want to do.
Yeah, that's really the best connection you can make to Derwin is the fact that he actually played some edge, that he played linebacker, that he played slot corner, that he played, and that's
if you look at where they lined up,
yeah.
right, and especially now that the game is really played between the numbers, there's a lot of things that defensive coordinators are just licking their chops. But
all right.
What can't I do with him?
So give us the defensive coordinator that gets him.
The first one that can possibly get his hands on him is really going to be the answer. Look, when we're looking for best fits for things like this, maybe Carolina could use him. There's really almost no team that can't use him. I don't think he gets past 5.
Doesn't get past 5 with the Dolphins.
Doesn't get past 5.
Maybe people learned their lesson in having passed on Derwin James all the way down to number 17 and recognizing what a mistake that was. And
huge
likely
mistake.
not going to happen for Isaiah Simmons. All right, thank you, Cynthia. That is Next Gen Stats presented by AWS. Now Lance and Bucky with a little stock up, stock down.
Thanks, Money. Look, Money, you're going to love this segment because we're going to play a little stock up, stock down with the 2020 prospects that stood out. Lance, we're going to talk about the guys that you had a little opinion on. So let's start with Jake Fromm.
So Jake Fromm, I think the problem for Jake Fromm is I don't think this was ever going to be the showcase for him. What he is he's a game manager, right? The things he does, they're more intangible based. So I think when he came out and threw behind Jacob Eason, that was a tough one. I think when you saw the physical stuff, you see where I'm going with this one. It's going to end up being a stock down for Jake Fromm, I think, right now, and he may settle into potentially even an early day 3 mode. Now, with Darrington Evans, I'm going to go opposite here. I thought his workout was on the way up. So let's go stock up. He showed his speed. He showed his athleticism. He was smooth in all the drills on the field. And Darrington Evans, for me, is a player, Bucky, who's got the ability to really, I think, play on any down for you if you need. I'm not going to say he's an every down back, but he is kind of a Duke Johnson type of back who's got the wiggle. He's got the ability and space to catch it and make plays happen. And I think that's why he is a stock up running back right now.
Look, man, teams like backs like this that can join parts of committees, he will have a role in National Football League for
Absolutely. Now, I feel like the Grim Reaper here, but I'm going to go stock down for Laviska Shenault. And let me just give you the reasoning here. He suffered a core muscle injury, and so what we're dealing with here is a surgery that's going to knock him out from 4 to 6 weeks. Now, he has had some injury issues in his background, and I think that's something right now where teams are going to say, wait a minute, we need to double check the medicals on this. We have to go back and see how he handles the surgery, how his body bounces back, and then really start making determinations on his health and on his long-term durability. Very talented player and really a physical freak show. But right now, I'd say it's a little bit down for Laviska Shenault.
I'm not going to hire you to be my stockbroker because everything is all negative. I'm trying to make money. I want to win. I want to win. So I'm more of the positive guy. So I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had a terrific week. When you think about Jalen Hurts and what he brings to the table, a lot of it's behind the scenes, the leadership, the intangibles, the ability to lead 2 blue blood programs into the playoffs. I love that. But what he did here, he threw the ball really well. I have said on record, he kind of reminds me of Dak Prescott. I think more and more teams are going to begin to see him in that light.
Yeah.
Cam Akers, he doesn't get enough credit. He was one of my sleepers coming into the week. Dynamic running back from Florida State. There's a lot to like about him. And when I talked to running back coaches, they were really, really impressed coming in. I think he continued to wow them with his performance. You just don't see guys who have his kind of skills. 3-down running back, put a 4.47 up on display. And then when you think about his ability to catch out the backfield, there are a lot of teams that are looking for backs that can do a lot of different things. He has a very versatile toolbox that makes him special.
Every down size, too.
Yep, look, big, physical, good runner inside and out. He is going to be a better pro than college player.
Look, I already know how this guy worked out, so I have no doubt you're buying this stock.
I am buying him because coming in, he had a lot of momentum coming from the Senior Bowl. When you watch him in the Senior Bowl, the way he was able to get open, the way he did big things, meaning a big possession receiver, but now we discovered he has a little more juice than we thought. Ran a sub 4.40, caught the ball well. When you begin to put all of the pieces of the puzzle together, big-time playmaker, great athlete with explosiveness, and he can make plays. Denzel Mims, his stock is definitely up. When we return, we'll talk about some more guys who impressed us this week. Stick around.
All right, Bucky Lance, let's do Best of the Best presented by Verizon Fios. And how about a 3-pack of players that you're walking away impressed by from the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine?
Okay, my 3-pack is Jonathan Taylor, Jerry Jeudy, and Nick Harris. I'm putting a big man in there. The center from Washington does a great job. You talk about an undersized center, but outstanding quickness, does a great job, gets to the next level. People love him. Jerry Jeudy, those other guys, those are terrific guys.
Certainly. And this was very easy to do because you're pretty much just whittling down a pack of about 20 guys that we've seen over the course of these 4 days. Well, 3 soon to be 4 days. What do you have, Lance?
I'm going to go Herbert, Wirfs, and Swift. DeAndre Swift, Tristan Wirfs, and, of course, Justin Herbert. I thought Justin Herbert threw the ball great. I thought he really stood out from a quarterback standpoint. When you look at Tristan Wirfs, his workout speaks for itself, but it's not just the explosive numbers and quickness. It was his ability to look smooth and fluid on the field. And then DeAndre Swift, to me, he separated himself from the pack and looked like a true first-round running back. Some people believe those are rare, but he's the guy that I think deserves it.
Yeah, I had Wirfs in there as well, and a lot of that is just listening to the people around the draft. Point to Mekhi Becton and Jedrick Wills as the top 2 tackles. Now, sounds like they're talking about Wirfs being in that conversation as well. And then I'll add CeeDee Lamb. You mentioned Jerry Jeudy. Felt like it was a 1 and a 1A, and it felt like after the workout, more people have CeeDee as the 1 and Jeudy is maybe the guy that's going to be right behind him. And then I'll wrap it up with, just because we got to mention it again, Isaiah Simmons and just how ridiculous it was at that size, at that weight, to put on the exhibition that he did yesterday in the linebacker drill. Cynthia was just with us talking about how he was put all over the field as a rush end, as a linebacker, as a slot corner, as a safety. It is something to see someone that big with that kind of weight run and move with that sort of fluidity. Someone we did not mention, we mentioned Wirfs, his teammate, but A.J. Epinesa, one of the top defenders in the upcoming 2020 NFL Draft, caught up with our Colleen Wolfe.
He hails from Iowa, and he joins us here in Indy. A.J. Epinesa, what's up? Thanks for coming by.
Oh, no problem. I'm really happy to be here.
So how did it go? You're happy? It seems like it went well.
Yeah, it was good. I'm not satisfied with any of my times or anything like that, but I know there's a lot of steps I can take forward and improve, but it was a fun experience.
What did you want to do better?
I don't know my exact times for the 40, but I want to improve on that. And then some of these drills, I know it was later in the day, but you can always get better at that stuff.
Okay, so what did you feel like you did the best here?
I think just the D-line drills in general, just kind of looking fluid, looking a little athletic, going through the bags, and even on into the linebacker drills. I think I have very minimum experience doing that, but I think I look pretty fluid. So.
How much did your dad's drills help you here? I mean, was that like a pre-combine sort of experience?
Basically, we had a mini combine in the backyard all the time, but it was more so just to get ready for the upcoming season and just to stay moving and stay active when you're young. It's like it's like an off-brand Play 60.
Okay.
Kind of like just at my house, all my teammates, all my brother's teammates, and all them coming back to my house, and then we just running in the neighborhood, doing drills in the backyard, flipping tires.
When did that start?
My brother is in 7th grade, so probably in like 5th or 6th for me. Back in the day.
So your dad's just out there running drills for you guys. I feel like that was like a nice warm-up for the combine, but you guys are also big cookouts happening at the house too.
Oh yeah.
What's the number one thing on the menu? What's the first thing you reach for?
The short ribs. It's marinated, it's cooked to perfection. It's just you just peel it right off. It's so good, so good.
So your dad also went to Iowa and played D-end. How much has he sort of helped you through this? Obviously with the drills and the eating portion of the program with the ribs, but just in general, how much of an influence has he been?
He's been a major influence in my life, starting from Pee-wee football and learning me how to club little kids when I was a lot bigger than them, and just moving on into like middle school and varsity, and then obviously into college. I was living the dream. That's basically how my football career has been. Is I've been living the dream. I went to my dream school. I'm at the NFL Combine. I'm doing one of these interviews. You see them on TV. So I'm just really excited about just all the opportunities that I've worked for.
Well, it seems like you're already a legend, especially in your hometown, because your name is on the Edwardsville sign here for discus champion. Okay. Is this a normal thing? We don't do this really in Pennsylvania. This is pretty cool.
So where I'm from, whenever you enter a new town, it tells you obviously the population and then all their recent champions of the year before. So I mean, I'm used to seeing like all these in all the different towns, but yeah, I was 2016 and 2017.
Oh, humble brag. Okay, all right. Well, I feel like you probably should have had your name on the sign here from this dunk, because pretty good. I mean, not bad. You got some skills right there.
Oh yeah, that was in East St. Louis my senior year. It was a close game, and that's a big momentum shifter. But yeah, I love playing basketball, and I mean, I love being able to dunk it. That's crazy. I mean, I kind of forgot about it, but that's awesome.
You played with Jason Tatum too?
Yeah, I did. I played on the St. Louis Eagles. Jason Tatum, Tyler Cook, Jordan Goodwin, all my boys, and they're all on their own path, their own journey. So I mean, I've been blessed enough to be able to be a part of their lives, but also be able to play with them.
Who dunked first, you or Tatum?
Oh, I mean, I didn't know him until we joined the team, but I'm assuming that he dunked before me because he is way better than I am.
I definitely wanted you to just be like, it was me, I don't know, whatever.
Oh, I wish I could say that, but.
How about this? Tell us a little bit about this experience meeting Kareem.
Oh, so this was in my hometown, and he was coming. He came to town for like a fundraiser, and he was speaking. And I ended up meeting Jackie Joyner-Kersee too. I don't know if you know who that is, but she's a legend.
That's amazing.
But he didn't. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real. He didn't say stick to football. I just kind of said that. I don't know why. But
what did he say?
He told me. I mean, just nice meeting me. I mean, I'm sure he meets new people every day, and I was just another kid rolling up at that time. But it was a huge honor for me. I don't get made. I'm not made. Like, I don't look that small compared to a lot of people, but.
That's how I feel all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
normal.
Okay, so obviously you have some amazing sleeves here. Tell us a little bit about your tattoos. What do they mean? When did you get your first one?
Yeah, I got my first tattoo, which, I mean, from this point and up, that was junior year of high school. And I got it. It's a traditional Samoan tattoo. My dad was born and raised on the island. And it's just kind of traditional designs. I mean, there's no necessarily like exact meaning. It's just kind of representing your culture, showing who you are, and like just kind of like entering manhood, sort of. And just, I don't know, it's really cool. And my brother's got one, my dad's got one, because my cousin's got some. So it's just kind of a cultural thing.
That's awesome. I love it. We tried to get a tattoo artist here in Indy so we could do like Combine 2020s together, but yeah, they just like, they wouldn't go for it for some reason. I don't know. Listen, this has been amazing. We're so excited to see where you land. AJ, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right, from Epinesa to, well, we were doing it earlier. Lance, Bucky, and I were playing matchmaker, and Cynthia said, I want in. Let me get in on this action here. So let's pair some of these defensive players up with teams and spots where you think they should land.
I know this is going to be a little spicy, but considering the situation here, I actually have Chase Young being a really good fit for the Bengals. I understand the quarterback situation. I get it, but there's a really rich free agent quarterback market. So if you're going to try to improve their wins year over year, you're going to do it with a guy who led FBS in quarterback pressure since 2018. This is a huge deal. This would project for them to earn the most wins versus last year, the biggest uptick with just one player. Now, I get 3-4 is probably the optimal fit for him in terms of scheme, but he is worth changing your scheme for.
I guess the one big question there would be, you know, free agency, it's a dance. Someone's got to ask you to dance with them, and they have to accept. And I guess, can you get one of those big names?
Oh, yeah, but I'm just saying there's
such
a rich market
if they could
it.
take that path. And by the way, they'll know before the draft if, in fact, someone says yes, and that very well could affect what they do at number one. All right, how about Derrick Brown?
Take Giants at number 4. That would be an optimal fit for them. They really struggle to generate much pressure. After the first 2 tackles, there's a big drop-off in terms of what are you going to get at the DL position, a defensive line position. And realistically, this guy is, in a different draft, could be number 1. Just Chase Young happens to be there. So SEC Defensive Player of the Year, obviously that accolade, that's a tough division to be the Player of the Year in. So he's a really strong candidate, would be a really good fit for the Giants.
And I'll point out, you know, we just had this conversation a little bit earlier. You know, if you are picking in the, let's say, the top 8 or 9, you are going to go in any direction, be it an offensive tackle, a defensive lineman, a corner, and you're going to get an elite player. So to say, well, the Giants need an offensive lineman, well, Derrick Brown may just be higher on their board and recognize, let's just take the number 1. There's a lot of draft rooms that do it that way.
Strategically speaking, you got to take the one that makes the biggest fit and the biggest uptick for you at the time. And we haven't had free agency yet, so we'll see how it all nets out.
Let's do one more. How about Ross Blacklock?
Okay, so like I said, there's a big drop-off after the first 2 defensive linemen. So Blacklock that to me would be a really good pick of the Dolphins at 26. So remember, they have 5, 18, and that's their third pick at 26. He has an Achilles, right? So you want to make sure that this guy who has some injury questions, you want to give yourself a position to get a potentially elite player with a lot of upside. They need a lot of things, the Dolphins. So this is an area where they could look to the future, develop him. This could be a good system fit for them.
All right, welcome to the world of matchmaking. Well done,
Matchmaking.
Cynthia.
Thanks.
One more to go when we return, as we will make way for the Combine to get underway. There's Jeffrey Okudah getting ready, stretching out just 2 minutes. We'll do 3 more players we're keeping our eyes on as we get ready for today at the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine. We do some pro performances presented by Nike as we get ready for the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine. Final day, all the defensive backs doing their 40s, doing the drill. So let's get one more look into a player we're going to be keeping an eye on here over the next few hours, Bucky.
Look, everybody loves sleepers, so I'm going to throw out one. Antoine Brooks Jr. from Maryland. Widely under the radar. People are beginning to talk about him. There's some people that may have some day one grades on him. So keep an eye on him. If he runs fast, you will begin to hear the buzz build around Antoine Brooks' name.
How about it, Lance?
I'm going to go with Trevon Diggs, the cornerback / free safety out of Alabama. You know, he's got the size to be corner or free safety. But the thing I really like about Diggs is his ball skills are unbelievable. And he's a former wide receiver. Of course, we know his brother is Stephon Diggs, but when you watch his ability to make plays on the football and make plays late on the football, that's a gift. You either have those or you don't, and he has those. I think we're going to see him run pretty well today, maybe low 4.5s, which would be good enough for his size, but I think he's got the ability to play free safety or to play cornerback, and everything about him is like all the Alabama cornerbacks. He's just another one of those type of guys.
You say that, and I follow up with the same conversation, Xavier McKinney, right? And
yeah.
I think today we're going to find out, is he free? Is he strong? He played some slot corner. I mean, one of those versatile players that I think the athleticism is going to tell you, how versatile he is and likely where he ends up in that first round. Like you said, I mean, the guy's got 5.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 3 interceptions. One of them returns 78 yards for a touchdown, so it's there. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out on the combine field through these drills today.
Yeah, look, he's a great player. He's a guy that does a lot near the box. I think he's going to be one of the next great Alabama players that makes his mark in the league.
All right, that is Pro Performances presented by Nike. That's going to do it for us. You hear the PA. We're getting ready to get underway. Take you right to all those combine drills. A big thank you to our sponsor there, New Era, the official outfitter of the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine. They did it for us as well. They do it for all the players. Enjoy the Rich Eisen Run Rich Run. $700,000 he has raised, along with all these great defensive backs, getting through our fourth and final day of the Combine. It's been Combine Today, presented by Verizon. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching us this week.